Hello everybody, this is Mecha, and welcome to a Misfit Artist Animcast. I constructed this really fun little fight scene between Flopsy and this cloaked figure, so we're just gonna kind of walk through, from beginning to final editing a little bit. So obviously, you know, any idea you need your characters in there. You already have the hit cam crew, so it's kind of just a matter of coming up with other monsters you want to fight. And I kind of just looked up some different monster silhouette ideas, started going, and really quickly I was like, I like this idea of like the one glowing eye or orifice, hidden by this hood, which is a really simple silhouette. So then I thought, what if, he can have like as many arms as he wants come out, and that's just a really fun fight, and it can, give you that kind of motion where, one character's just deflecting and parrying all these incoming attacks. And maybe we'll do some more because I do have, as you can see, an idea of what this monster looks like under the cloak. Disgusting, horrifying. I'm thinking kind of like a mix of, Jack the Ripper, this critter that, you know, wanders through these city alleys and like maybe, but like with a spider aspect, maybe kidnaps girls to, do some xenomorph facehugger nonsense. Real messed up stuff. Obviously, once you have characters, you need to do some thumbnailing. Not a whole lot to go over in the thumbnailing phase. It's just generally getting the vibe, because for me in this, every keyframe needs to look good as a single image, but there's a few things that really get sold with the motion. So as long as you have enough idea that you can, move forward with it, that's all you need. Establishing shot is, I want to actually do a video here soon about what makes a good readable sequence in comic or animation, because it's one of those things I think actually foundationally the same in both, but one of those things is a strong establishing shot. So this is not the full fight. This is like a snapshot of this fight idea. It's not the beginning. You're gonna see, you saw arrows already tied up. Obviously, she got that way somehow. This is kind of like the cool climax of the fight is what I wanted to work on here. But even with that, the sequence really needs to be it still needs a beginning and end to it. Even if it's not the entire story, you need that. You need to know where you are, who's where, and the general vibe or motivation of each character, who's going after you, stuff like that. And you need to make that look cool. So that's what this is. You can see you're in an alleyway. This shot here is kind of, again, the almost like the thesis, the fun of what I wanted to do. Again, something that I think I want to elaborate more on from animation to comics. One of your rules of thumb needs to be that you don't want to do the same shot over and over, and I think that's one of the things that makes this short really good. Is I'm really working on different shots, different subjects each cut. But there are some shots that obviously are going to convey themselves really well to certain actions. A fight sequence, in my opinion, 9 times out of 10, is going to be cool as a side profile shot, often, from a wide angle. Now, you need close-ups, you need different shots for very specific things, but if you have two characters clashing, boxing, parrying, maybe even grappling, you can see both their silhouettes reaching towards each other from these side profile shots. So if you have a shot that's going to have like multiple beats, you want to be able to see that. And if you start, one of the things I do is when I start from this wide shot, I can then use the digital camera and kind of zoom in and follow them. So that's another thing that will always help that comics can't do quite as much, but animation, you do have a camera. That motion of the camera adds more dynamism, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's going to be now, to a shot, whether it's following the characters, lagging behind the characters, moving ahead of the characters, shaking and impacting with each strike. There's a lot you can do there. Another thing that you might be noticing is, and this is like a very nerdy martial arts thing, but I want to make sure that when I'm animating this, your character's feet are kind of moving the weight to where they need their strike to go first. And that time-wise, that can get a little messy because, if you animate every single beat or action or part of the motion, it just reads slow. So you need to cheat that a little bit to keep the speed going. But in general, you want to make sure that you have your character committing to the strike before the strike comes. And that can be literally just 2 frames in there. And Another thing you can see is there's going to be tweening, like actual motion tweening I do. But you can see a lot of what I'm doing here, especially for the rough storyboard, rough anim stuff I'm doing here. I'm doing a lot of just duplicating the drawing and moving like just the arms or transforming him a little bit. So instead of just saying keyframe here, I'm doing a lot of that by hand, which for this is actually giving me a lot of detail and control over the motion. I believe the original pen version of this would have been called draw and trace and shift or something like that. But it's a thing. I mean, obviously you need to keep consistency, and so tracing a majority of your silhouette and then just transforming what you need. In this case, his arms works out really well. If I was doing cleanup, I might make his arms on a layer to really give control. But yeah, works out. This here is a shot that's going to happen kind of during the shift of the who has advantage. So, monster takes a hit that gives Flopsy an opening here. And again, some less brawling, more screen directing thoughts here. You want to make sure that if a character is doing something based off something another character did, you need to kind of show them understanding what just happened. So Flopsy looking up like, oh, this is my chance. Woo! Is really, I think, gives a lot to it. It gives those, if you're ever animating or again making a comic and you feel like maybe like you like the pacing but maybe went a little too fast or something's unclear, throw a couple shots in to make sure that your characters or your audience understands what just happened. Rule of thumb that one of my teachers used to always say was the weirder or more hectic something is, the more time your audience needs to see it. So if your character has time to understand it, your audience should too. So if a knife comes flying in off screen before character A does something with it, make sure they respond to it. So, hope you enjoyed that little fight animation. If you really liked it, again, there's more before it, more after it, lots of story that we want to play with. But for now, that's what we have. Hope if you have any questions about the animation, editing, writing process, feel free to comment below. And yeah, make sure that you subscribe. Some of these links are out of date, but we're working on a lot of things. So, hope to see you next time. Bye.